Now, this fainting, this falling, this landing, so ungainly. Concrete scratches her face, the back of her arm, her legs twist like licorice. Nearby, it sounds like cocktail hour at a convention of common starlings. A murmur punctuated by intermittent laughter. Why? The sky marbles blue and white, but the clouds are leaving town. She closes her eyes, breathes in the metal essence of her own blood as it exits the hole the bullet has created. The last time she smelled this iron, 1997. Blood on the toilet seat, blood on the tile, guilt flooding like ocean water overhead. She shouldn't have gone home that day after her collapse. She should have driven herself to the hospital. Maybe that baby could have been saved. Still, that was 13 years ago. 3 babies since then, alive and thriving. But she's at once on the driveway and back in the employee bathroom, washing that blood off the long since discarded skirts in the white sink, wiping away blood on her fingertips with brown paper towels. Her eyelids so heavy now, but she possesses a power of flight. Her spine against the concrete of the driveway, cold, but her mind, the jumble and rattle of a projector running continuously. A moving picture made of stills, but not a silent movie. A kaleidoscope of time and place, an atlas of the past. The call of other voices, husbands, children's, sisters, and the sharp bark of Greta, the shepherd who's been dead for almost 2 years of a degenerative disease. Other voices too unfamiliar, newly introduced, the policemen and their dispatchers, and voices of those so dear, but gone long before the babies came. Her eyelids so heavy. How much liquid has spilled near her heart toward the stomach? Why is the act of spilling liquid so painful? Suddenly realizing, this is a miscarriage of a different kind. No baby to lose this time. A different kind of secession. The owl that has been living in the tree outside the bedroom window hoots to the agent's assault rifle trigger call. She, daughter, wife, and mother of 3, tries to open her eyes. Film ends. Light shining on blank screen, dissolving into page, something she can read. Pain shifts, an outline, not a chalk outline, or the outline of a body for the shooters at a practice range, but Aristotle's incline, an outline of a story, an explanation of why her back is to the concrete. Every story has a beginning, a middle, and end. Aristotle's ski lift structure with 7 stops outlined in his Poetics, a book she has studied and restudied over the years. She begins searching for the words that will form her beginning, that will anchor the story, her own story, in its ordinary world. She reads the words that form as she remembers. Moving day in the ordinary world, in which she moves 13 long miles to a new house, 3 girls in tow, their beloved shepherd parked in a kennel, their belongings painstakingly packed box by box and hauled over from the old house bit by bit. The man of the hour, her husband, on a business trip, first France and then Japan during this entire event. They moved from the boundaries of Atlanta's city limits to just inside the enclosing arms of suburbia. Black clouds waste no time. Heavens open up. Trees swing like pendulums. Thunder fails to cease, the rain unrelenting. Impassable roads under perpetual construction, strip malls decorated in neon, gated brick monstrosities, and carpet-soft lawns. Ravines covered in kudzu. Etched metal historical markers dot streets like stop signs, subtly celebrating the Confederacy 139 years after the loss. Commuters honking a concerto of road rage, the smog-laced air they all breathe, and a pair of shop girls crossing the street when they see her coming. She is a chronicler of the dead. Obituaries. A lowly job usually given to interns first. Those who are new to the newspaper world, or those old-timers who could not stomach the deadlines or the politics of daily journalism. Those who could not stand the constant criticism from the public. For the first time in 10 years, since the year 2000, Mother arrives last to her section of the newsroom, far from the window that looks out to the skyscraper crowding the urban landscapes, the streets way below downtown Atlanta. Editor Dennis is on the phone, his face red and crumpled like used gift wrap. Dennis does not wave. He swivels his chair back to his computer screen as though he doesn't see her. Her other two colleagues are absent. Rather, their things, lunch bags, jackets, notebooks, are dumped over their desk calendars, but their bodies are not present. She looks around, and there are reporters in the thick of the newsroom where the city desk journalists cluster, crowding around the water cooler, watching live TV on multiple screens. She grips the jangle of keys in her left hand. Where is the car parked? What route had she taken this morning after breakfast of toaster strudel and black tea? She is achy, content to sit. Desk is tidy, facing the narrow corridor that leads to the restroom. Desk is tidy because there is no work to carry over day to day. At workday's end, she files the notes and notebook into the cabinet's drawers, touches a 4x6 color photo of her family tackled on the bulletin board, and rushes home. Today, no lunch and no jacket, not even a purse. Why? No one looks at her. No one gives her anything to do. She used to be a crime reporter. Used to have to keep watch over everything that had to do with assigned police municipalities, the courthouses, and the counties she covered. She practices still. Who goes in and out of the corridor and the bathrooms, how many times each day? Who goes in, who doesn't come out? Who goes in pensive, who comes out giddy? Who goes in all nervous energy and comes out sated, slow? She blames George, the Metro Police's coke habit, that way. And the fact that the assistant food editor, Julie, has been having an affair with Charles, the morning editor at the city desk, for 3 months. How do they have time? They're each married and have kids on the same Little League team. Carpool must have become a hotbed of innuendo and long looks. She turns back to Dennis, but he is occupied by the urgent call on the telephone, his sweat and anger rolling off his back, billed in ill wind. Now, she is neither an intern nor a shadow. She's a seasoned reporter with a husband who knows which kiosk sells the best croissants at Charles de Gaulle Airport, better than he knows where the cough medicine is stored at home. She is a mother of 3 small children, a mother who does not want to let go of her former life, a woman who cannot stand the mind-numbing repetition of the present. Once the children came in quick succession, she accepted the job, writing the accomplishments and attributes of a person who will never read the work and tell her that she got it wrong. Today, no file resting atop the desk calendar. She longs to swivel the chair 360 degrees like the children do when they visit her workplace on occasion. She longs to scrounge the desk for loose change, see what can be had from the vending machines for lunch, but she scrounged last Tuesday, and for those efforts, ate chocolate-covered peanuts and the candy coating smudging her fingers. So there's no change to be had. She could ask for a few dollars, but she doesn't want to ask. She can't remember exactly when she last spied her purse or jacket. She doesn't want to be imprecise, especially at work. Position, tenuous, and part-time. If there is a bloodletting, cutbacks, she'd be the first to go. The number of reporters watching TV balloons. Their collective undertone sounds like bees surrounding a hive. She sighs. It sounds like the hive of bees making a home in the tree in her backyard. The keys bunched in her left hand bloom into a metallic sprig. An owl hoots on the TV, and then she knows why they are watching. They are watching the spectacle at her house. They are watching the magic through her television. Dennis yells, "God damn it!" and hangs up the phone, his face almost purple. He rises from the chair, looks through her, because she's really not there. She is on her driveway, bleeding. He staggers into the men's room. Goosebumps cover her arms, and her head begins to ache at the temples. The timer on her phone buzzes instantly in her right hand, but she doesn't turn it off. Can't remember how. The phone rings. The number scrolls across the top of her screen. She gets up and dashes to the elevator. Immediately, she's back at the car. A few moments later, she's navigating the toll roads, the goodbyes to the children, morning echoing. And then, a second later, she's in her driveway again. Prostate, pain expanding at the rate of the universe, and men crawling like ants searching her car. The tire adage holds some truth to its scaffold. They are never meant to be heard. Like children, most dolls are only made to be seen, put on display. Real live dolls are taught to remain stoic, bear witness in silence, no matter how the consumer judges. The radio dispatcher squawks, and a policeman's voice describes her. Black hair, brown skin, gray sweatpants, brown t-shirt, flip-flops. The dispatcher's voice drawls. Is she black? A lawnmower sputters to life nearby and drowns out the policeman's reply. Third Monday of May 2010. When you put American clothes on a brown-skinned doll, what do people see? The clothes or the whole doll? Or only the skin? The baby doll arrives in a pink cardboard box, a toy with black hair and brown eyes and skin like caramel cream, a gift presented from their paternal uncle for the real thing, who will grow up to become mother in the driveway, and the baby sister, who will grow up to become a nun. The girls braid their mother's hair. The girls' mothers braid the baby doll hair into a tiny plait. The real thing and baby sister and the toy baby doll all match. 3 dolls in small town North Carolina. Their mother shakes her head every time the real thing or baby sister cry. Their mother points to the doll. See? This is a tough cookie. We never hear her cry. This refrain often repeats no matter if the real thing and baby sister don't want to eat lunch at the appointed hour, don't want to go to bed before the sun finishes setting, don't want to stop reading the book aloud. Out of the 3 of them, the toy baby doll never talks back, always closes her eyes when she's put down for a nap, never complains when mother takes a kitchen rag and wipes the smudges of dirt from her face. The toy baby doll is shoved into the black Samsonite rectangle the summer before she, the real thing, turns 10. The toy doll rides in the belly of the plane across the international date line in a suitcase coffin and is bequeathed to a girl cousin in the crowded, noisy suburb of Calcutta. There was talk in the next room, where the maternal uncles sit and drink chai about Americans landing a probe on Mars the previous day. The Bengali grandmothers and great aunts smooth their own hair with worn hands, the colored bangles on their arms tinkling like wind chimes heralding the start of a new day. Their amusement echoes down the throat of the neighborhood, gathering volume as it reaches the cul-de-sac, the dead-end love. The neighbors are dressed in tennis whites, their bottled blonde hair in ponytails. She can hear these real Barbie dolls, each stationed at the tops of their driveways, watching and laughing. But what she pictures again is a murmuration of feathery starlings cresting and dipping in unison against the swath of the sky. Scratches scar the arms and legs of the pair of Barbie dolls their mother picks up from the consignment shop in Kavara, as if the doll's previous owner was trying to pierce the plastic skin to see what lay underneath. The mother plucks miniature accessories from the curb when the mean older girl from across the street throws a loud fit, enough for the entire neighborhood to hear, and tosses all of her toys outside in a cardboard box. A hot pink shoe and a blue one, and a pair of white sandals with frayed straps, a Barbie bed that is no better than a plastic gurney, one pastel pink skirt, and one orange and black top. The real thing and baby sister empty out 5 shoeboxes storing old letters, buttons from coats long donated, paper clips, and use their stapler to fashion a house. Each room, a diorama made from repurposed juice cans, padded manila envelopes, socks too holy to be darned. Their mother collects scraps from the materials for aprons she sews in front of the TV most weekend evenings and donates them to the Barbie Improvement Project. They watch the ads for the new movie Star Wars 4, but their mother will not let them go, declaring it to be witchcraft and a waste of money. The real thing and baby sister grow tired of the not entirely new perky Barbie dolls and their forced smiles and their scarred bodies. It is not the sound of music with Maria making play clothes from drapes for the captain's 7 children. The baby sister strips the scraps from the Barbie girls she has, and the real thing fashions temporary transportation from the shoebox that was a Barbie sitting room in the card box dollhouse. They have a better chance of getting new homes if they don't have ugly clothes, the baby sister says. They have a better chance if the white girls near the river never knew we played with them, the real thing says. She and the baby sister put the dolls into the box, sitting up side by side, set them free down the tributary that leads to the Cape Fear River Basin some miles away. They wave goodbye and watch the box sail calmly downstream. Later, their mother says nothing as a real thing, and baby sister take the Barbie clothes and shoes and throw them in the trash. Someone trips the switch for the red bullhorn on the squad car parked at the far end of the driveway, next to the blue recycling bins and green yard waste container. Good Lord! A voice exclaims. Why does everything have to be so complicated? Mother is 43 years, 6 months, and 25 days old. Today, the middle sister gets into mother's car after school in tears, sobbing that the new classmate won't invite her home. Annette said her mom won't let her play with black people outside of school. Her daughter's shoulders slumped forward in her seat. Everyone in the first grade is invited to the special premiere of B-Movie at the Buckhead mansion of Annette's famous athlete uncle. Everyone but her. Mother drives back to the school, leaves the car idling in the fire lane, and marches into the office. Why are the children even allowed to say such trash? The teachers and administration look as blank as stretched canvas. You know they are hearing this from their families. The school employees simply fix their eyes on the point, past her shoulder, and stare. Well, what are you gonna do? Their silence is the loudest thing she ever heard. She marches back to the car, a wooden soldier on fire plotting. Don't tell Daddy, middle daughter says to mother as she straps on the seatbelt. That girl has always been able to read her mother's face like a road map. Well, why not? He'll be sad, and he has to go out of town for work. So what? He needs to know. She pauses, eyes the last piece of cinnamon-flavored gum in the cup holder, but leaves it. Besides, he's already out of town for work. Middle daughter is shaking her head. No, he'll be sad. Mother is hardly out of the pristine neighborhood that surrounds the school when the patrol car passes her, makes a smooth three-point turn, flashing red lights, DJing a siren. Stop the vehicle! The robotic voice booms through the bullhorn. Mother pulls her car to the shoulder, whips out the registration and her license, rolls down the window. The policeman is young, the hair on his head, a newly hatched chick, fuzzy, translucent blonde. Here you go, she says before he opens his mouth to speak. He grunts. You missed the yield. He bends his head and clocks first the passenger seat. Her purse zipper open, a dog-eared copy of 100 Years Solitude splayed, spine up. Then the back row, a middle sister, calmly eating a cereal bar, looking away. Out her window to the wrought iron gates, and what stands on the other side, a water fountain, a rose garden, and a columned house. An American flag from the 1970s, 13 stars in a circle, flaps proudly atop a flagpole. Underneath it, a Confederate flag with its iconic Southern Cross waves in the wind. Mother does not argue that the sign has been absent, removed for years now, that the hedges at the soft intersection has been trimmed back so that all parties can see another. She does not argue that he has been stopping her regularly, usually in the mornings. She recognizes him, but he never recognizes her. For the first time, she fails to apologize. His stride back to the car is deliberate and purposeful. He returns a pink ticket in hand. Pay close attention, he says. His eyes as blue as cloudless day. Don't let me catch you here again. She nods in agreement, though she knows she'll see him again within the next week, and that he won't recognize her, and then rolls up the window. Don't tell Daddy, she says. Middle daughter grins, then grimaces. Her eyes look down towards her hands. Why not? He'll be sad, she says. The pain like an ambulance call, waxing and waning, as the red light circles through a complete revolution. She calls out for help. The blood pouring out of her is steady and strong. A river, not a monthly tributary. She's almost out of toilet tissue. She flushes the toilet again. She spies the bath towel, but it will require her to stand up and take a few steps. Something's wrong, she hollers. I can't stop the bleeding. But she pleads to deaf ears. She knows exactly what her husband is doing. He is wearing his headphones and listening to music and waiting for the timer to sound. Greta is chasing squirrels. When the timer sounds, he will unplug his headphones and call out for their shepherd, their first baby, to come inside. Then he will call out for Greta's human mother and tell her it's time to go to a friend's house for dinner. There will be exacerbation in his voice when she doesn't answer, when she doesn't magically appear at the bottom of the stairs ready to go. But then he will be curious and come looking for her. She knows it's close to the time they will have to leave. She turns her head to the left and sees the dress she was planning to wear to the party. White with tiny eyelet flowers stitched at the collar and the hem-cap sleeves. White is a color of mourning in her parents' world, her parents' culture. How appropriate. She can wear white to the hospital instead to confirm what she already knows. That's the baby, no bigger than peanuts, that she's been wishing and worrying for nearly 7 years, has left her. She looks at her hands, awash with blood that smells of iron and copper and steel. She will come home after the hospital and lie in her bed, her head propped up by pillows, the TV remotes on the nightstand to change the channel. The TV will remain on for a few days. A steady chatter of talk shows and game shows and news to drown out the silence. The countdown clock ticking toward the due date that no longer matters. The dispatcher's radio crackles. Well, Hollis, at least you got to work on your hobby today. The agent laughs. Which one? The crackle repeats. Both, I guess. You always do love to brandish a weapon while working on your tan. Mother remembers the motorist in Alabama being interviewed by PBS right after the last election. His farmer's tan, his candy red pickup brandishing a gun rack in back, and a sticker of a skeleton draped in the Confederate flag. Well, I'm not a racist, the motorist insisted to the blue-suited reporter holding a mic. Don't tell my friends, but I voted blue for the first time. The first American president with a permanent tan has been in office for 68 weeks and 6 days. Holly Hobby dolls are sold out. Their mother fishes for substitutes out of the clearance bin at the Durham department store going out of business sale. 2 of them, actually. One for her, the real thing, and one for baby sister. The rag babies carry painted smiles and blue eyes drawn to look down. The pasty-faced cashier explains the meaning of buy one, get one free at the checkout. 2 for the price of 1, their mother exclaims, pulling the cash out of her red cloth handbag. The new owners are not happy Holly Hobby is unavailable. The new owners know the price of admission into any circle of friends at school or even in the neighborhood. This year is a Holly Hobby doll with her patchwork quilt dress, blue bonnet, and black Mary Jane shoes. The baby sister is quick to put her rag baby in the black Samsonite suitcase coffin months before the next trip to see the cousins in India, but the real thing does not. She carefully keeps her doll atop her twin bed, propped into a seating position by her well-loved pillow. She uses a blue rubber band to get the yellow yarn out of her doll's face. She cuts out a picture of a Holly Hobby doll from the Sunday mailer that has a phrase, "sold out," in red across the torso like a pageant sash, and croons to it the new song from Greece that's overtaken the radio airwaves. You're the one that I want. The dispatcher's drawl echoes too. Never mind, she's been hearing this soliloquy from strangers since she was born. In the year of the fire horse, twin 6s after the 19. Never mind, the order of questions invariably changes, even if the questions themselves do not. How long have y'all lived here? Do you even speak English? Oh well, your English is so good. Bless your heart, you must miss your people. You stick out like a raisin in a big bowl of oatmeal. Is it true that you worship cows? Is it painful to have that red dot on your women's foreheads? Is that some bloody concoction? I learned about India when I was in grade school. Is it true that y'all are all poor and beg in the street? If everybody's poor, where does your money come from? You certainly don't look hungry. Bless your heart. Do you even know about Weight Watchers? Do you worship idols? Oh, bless your heart, that's a king of voodoo. I watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and I heard someone on TV say it was based on a true story. Do y'all really eat monkey brains? Oh, I'm so concerned for your soul. Have you ever considered accepting Jesus into your heart? I think it's funny that you call your dress a sari. I bet your mama's sorry to have to wear that contraption in public. Well, how come y'all aren't laughing? Don't complain about my dog barking at you and being off the leash. You're in America now, and you should do as the Romans do. Go to Kmart down the street and buy yourself some pants, right? You should be grateful. 50 years ago, I could have had you arrested just by the way you're looking at me right now. Maybe y'all should consider coming to our Bible study Wednesday night. It might do you some good. Have you ever heard of the Bible? Oh, don't get all uppity up on me. Don't turn away. I know you don't think you have to listen, but this is my country, you do. When y'all headed back? Y'all best get back to where you're coming from, you hear? No need to overstay your welcome. Two of the Kevlar-clad agents are within earshot. He's been picked up, the first one asks, his voice raspy as if he'd smoked too many cigarettes. Ambush, the other voice chuckles. He never saw it coming. She remembers a birthday party for her hero a year ago. All the stealth phone calls and emails and all the whispers between the girls. She remembers how surprised he'd been to see his old friends crowded around the candle-laden cake, the dining room table singing off-key. They'd parked half a mile away so he wouldn't know as he drove home from the office while they were lying in wait. Happy, she asked? Perfect. He'd replied, his eyes shining with unshed tears. She turns her eyes from the cloudy cyclops looming across the satellite map of Gulf of Mexico on the television screen. Hurricane Katrina bearing down on Louisiana in the incoming day. To see her man of the hour dragging his scuffed shoes through the door. He walks into the kitchen, carry-on strap across his shoulder, hair tousled, the circles under his eyes like tree rings. He pets Greta and gives the girls bear hugs as they grab their backpacks and run out the door for the intermittent carpool she has managed to join. He stands there and smells the weariness, the noxious airplane smell on his clothes, on his skin. He is home a day or two early. She smiles, and he smiles back. She knows that look in his bright blue eyes. He wants to have his day and spend it too. He wants to sleep enough that he feels caught up on his rest, but to wake in time to check his email before it gets too late. He wants to go out for a run with his friends late enough they have the chance to show up, but early enough that the overheated southern sun doesn't bake their shadows along the trail. He wants to have someone squeeze some oranges in the juicer, but he doesn't want to be that someone, and he doesn't want someone else to do it for him. It's almost 8 o'clock in the morning, and he is conflicted. Can I make you coffee? He asks, then yawns. He runs his hand through his dirty blonde hair, starting to turn silver at the temples. My hero, she says, muting the TV with the blue button on the universal remote. She gives him a hug, a second too long, and he is the first to let go. Sounds like you really pushed that gal's buttons, Hollis. The agent snorts. People come into your life as a blessing or a lesson, Paula. Laughter. Which one are you, Hollis?